It's Monday on Simon's Trading Channel. Welcome. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. Let's get straight on with the price action analysis for the mighty Bitcoin. I hope you're all well and you've had a good start to your week. Now, so the weekly did indeed close back green on the MACD, so it's turned back up from very close to the zero line. It did the same thing over here during this 30-week epic consolidation, and it looks like it's going to do something very similar at the moment of this 28 into its 29-week epic consolidation. And to remain green, Bitcoin has to close this week on Bybit, which will be Sunday midnight again, above 61.5. You can see it's a fair bit above there at the moment. The same numbers for CME as 62, and you can see it's about $1,500 away on both of those. So as long as there's not too big a pullback this week, then the MACD will continue to the upside. Hence, momentum on the weekly will continue to the upside. So, from the point of view of today, well, not a lot has happened. This looks remarkably similar to this, except of course here, with that sort of bounce and then sell-off, it happened quite quickly. And in fact, it was Monday and Tuesday that did all the badness. Got it back below the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, and then there was a little bit of volatility expansion to the downside before it then bounced again. And in doing so, provided us all with a very helpful higher low. So yeah, we'll see what happens this time. It's certainly cooling off. Now, this is kind of interesting, and I don't know if you've ever thought about this before. If I just get rid of those childish scribblings. So when volatility cools off, so the trending move with the volatility expansion was to the upside, right? Now, that can cool off without the price breaking down and reversing, okay? So I'll give you an example of what I mean, because you might be thinking, Simon, you're just talking in some sort of weird code. What are you going on about, boy? And you'd probably be quite right. So this impulsive move up here, right? So the Bollinger Bands were narrow. There was expansion, i.e. volatility picked up. Prices above the midpoint. So that means that the volatility expansion was to the upside. It then remained above the midpoint, even though from pretty much here, the volatility started to contract again. You see the Bollinger Bands getting narrow before the next move came about again to the upside. So if this move is going to continue to the upside in a significant manner, I would like to see the volatility cool off if it's going to, and it looks like it probably is, but without Bitcoin significantly pulling back. And I would suggest, well, we can do it in a bit more of a, let's do it in a less suggestive and more subjective manner. So if you take this last move, how dare I cough so rudely halfway through a video? If you take this last impulsive move on the daily, you can see the 382 for a shallow pullback comes in at 61,850, which is close to the weekly, where the weekly closure needs to be for the MACD to continue to rise. 62 for the daily to continue to rise. The support resistance from the chart also comes in, but there's a range between that 382, so 61.8, and yeah, the 618. Well, no, the 0.5, which is 61. Probably a bit lower still, 60. Yeah, there's a bit of a range there. There's a bit of a support resistance band. But you can see that pullbacks from this impulsive move are all legitimate for continuation to the upside down to about 60,000. So I think as long as Bitcoin defends it on a daily, but I'd like to see it then close out the weekly back above the 382, just call it 61.5. And if it does that, it's likely it'll maintain its position above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. As the Bollinger Band volatility narrows, cools off, preceding the next volatile move, which will more likely to be to the upside. That is all negated at the moment with current projections with the daily closure back below 59. So there's 786 and also in the midpoint here. If it does that, this starts to look a lot, or this move starts to look a lot more like this move. And what follows that move? Well, that move. So we'll see. So that's the daily. Is there anything more to add on the 4 hour? Not really. I talked about the this tightening with Bollinger Bands yesterday and how you would need to have expansion in a meaningful way on the 4 hour, which hasn't happened. As you can see, there was a slight increase in the width of the Bollinger Band, slight increase in volatility, but it was for one candle and then it just reversed. It remains above the midpoint at the moment, and so if volatility did expand, say overnight, then it's more likely to be to the upside. If it starts closing below 63 and change on a 4 hour time frame, and then particularly if it starts to close 4 hours below 62.5, then that would be volatility expansion on a 4 hour time frame to the dark side. So we'll see if that happens. You know, it wouldn't be the end of the world to pull back to 62.5 on this 4 hour. And it certainly wouldn't be the end of the world to pull back to sort of 60.59 on a daily. To be honest, I think the key for this week is that the weekly closure gets securely back above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, which is sort of just called 62.5. So that's where I'd like to see price action above come the end of the week. What happens in between? Well, we'll see. Momentum on the 4 hours still to the upside, cooling off a bit, and the daily continues to the upside. You can see volatility is just starting to cool off a bit. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be shorting this. I wouldn't be shorting Bitcoin in general, but you know, maybe some people are going to like scalp a short here just for a short-term pullback, but that's not my game. Certainly not financial advice. It seems like more effort than it's worth, if I'm honest. So yeah, there we go. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, like and subscribe and share. That'd be marvelous. Join me tomorrow for Tuesday's price action analysis with yours truly, Simon. And you can catch me on Twitter, Simon F. Martin. Take care. Bye-bye.